We already know that one of the requirements of lasing action is the population inversion. Means the number of atoms in the excited state must be greater than the number of atoms in the ground state. So in a normal population condition, what do we have? Under normal conditions, the population of the lower state is higher, or you can say the ground state is higher as compared to the number of atoms in the excited state. And that's obvious because the excited state is an unstable state. It is less stable as compared to the ground state. So most of the atoms, they prefer to be in the ground state under normal conditions. But for lasing action to occur, we must have population inversion condition to be achieved. And in the previous lecture, we saw that by increasing the temperature of the medium or by decreasing the energy difference between the excited and the ground state, we are not able to obtain the population inversion condition. So we came to the conclusion that energy must be supplied externally. An external energy source must be present so that the atoms from the ground state can be pumped to the excited state and population inversion condition can be achieved. So this process, the process of achieving population inversion by supplying energy through external means. Now this energy supplying, it can be in the form of photons, which is called as optical pumping. It can be in the form of electric current, that is electric discharge, which is the electrical pumping. So it can be in any form. So this process in which we achieve the condition of population inversion by supplying energy through external means is known as pumping, or it is also called as excitation. So this process is called as pumping or excitation. Now you will be surprised to know that in a two-level oscillator, in a two-level pumping scheme, it is impossible to obtain population inversion condition. So in a two-level oscillator, it is impossible to have a lasing action. So far we have been discussing a two-level oscillator. We have been discussing that when stimulated emission occurs in a two-level oscillator, then a lasing action is possible. We can have the photons which are coherent, monochromatic and have high directionality. But in actual practice, in a two-level oscillator, lasing action cannot be, the lasing action is not possible. And that's because in a two-level oscillator or in a two-level pumping scheme, population inversion condition is impossible to achieve. So it is impossible to achieve population inversion condition in a two-level pumping scheme or in a two-level oscillator. And that's because, let's say if you have a two-level oscillator over here which has two energy levels, one is E1 and another is E3. So I am making over here photons to bombard on the atoms which are present in the ground state. So these atoms, they will go to the excited state. Now in a two-level oscillator, this excited state has a very short lifetime. Its lifetime is about 10 power minus 8 seconds. So in no time, the excited atoms, they will go to the ground state by spontaneous emission. Due to the short lifetime of the excited state, the atoms in the excited state, they will go to the ground state spontaneously. So by spontaneous emission, they will go to the ground state. That is in a very short interval of time, they will again de-excite, they will go to the ground state. So in a two-level oscillator, this excited level will be populated and depopulated simultaneously. So it is getting populated by absorption of the photons and it is getting depopulated due to spontaneous emission because its lifetime is very short. It's about 10 power minus 8 seconds. So in a very short interval of time, they will again go back to the ground state. So in this case, in this two-level scheme, it is impossible to obtain population inversion condition. So we want more than half of the atoms to be present in the excited state. So let's say if there are 100 atoms present in the ground state, so we want at least half of the atoms to go to the excited state so that population inversion condition is achieved. But in the case of two-level oscillator or two-level scheme, the atoms that go to the excited state in a very short interval of time again go to the ground state. Therefore, in this two-level oscillator, the population inversion condition is impossible to achieve. So if population inversion condition cannot be achieved, then the lasing action is also impossible. So in the case of two-level oscillator, we cannot have a lasing action. So what do we require? We require an energy state whose lifetime is a bit longer. So in the case of normal excited level, the lifetime is of the order of 10 power minus 8 seconds. And due to this short lifetime, we are not able to obtain the population inversion condition. So what do we need? We need an energy level whose lifetime is a bit longer, so that atoms stay in the excited state for a long interval of time. So such states, they are present in certain materials, and we use those materials only for lasing action. So only such materials are useful in the lasers. So that state, that energy state which has a longer lifetime, is called as metastable state. Therefore, existence of metastable state is an essential requirement for population inversion condition. So metastable state must be present. Metastable state is the one which has a longer lifetime, and on an average the lifetime of a metastable state is of the order of 10 power minus 3 seconds, and normal excited state has a lifetime about 10 power minus 8 seconds. So you can see that lifetime of a metastable state is about 10 power 5 times that of the lifetime of the normal excited state. So the lifetime of metastable state is very large as compared to the lifetime of the normal excited state. So for the case of two-level oscillator, atoms remain in E3 level. Atoms remain in E3 level for about 10 power minus 8 seconds. So E3 is the energy level which is populated and depopulated simultaneously due to the short lifespan, due to the short lifetime of the excited state. The E3 level is populated and depopulated simultaneously. So population inversion cannot be achieved in a two-level oscillator or in a two-level pumping scheme. To achieve population inversion condition, excited atoms must stay at the higher energy state for a longer time. So atoms must stay in the excited state for a longer time, so that the ground state atoms, they go to the excited state, and the excited atoms, they stay there for a longer time, and hence after certain amount of time we will have population inversion condition. But this thing is not possible in the case of a two-level scheme, because the atoms in the excited state have a very short lifetime, so instantaneously they will go to the ground state. So we won't be able to have population inversion. Therefore, we require those materials which have metastable state. So this metastable state has a longer lifetime. So let's say this is the ground state and this is the highly excited state, and in between these two we have another energy state which is represented by E2. So this is the metastable state. So atoms which are present in the ground state, first they are pumped to the highly excited state, And these atoms, when they are pumped to the excited state, they go to this E2 energy level. So first they go to E3 energy level, and after that they go to the E2 energy level through spontaneous emission. So they go to the E2 energy level through spontaneous emission, and after that, after certain amount of time, population inversion is achieved between E2 and E1 state, because the lifetime of the atoms in this state is very large. So atoms stay in this level for a longer interval of time. So atoms from ground state, first they are pumped to the excited state E3, and through spontaneous emission, since its lifetime is very small, the lifetime of E3 level is very small, so atoms from this state, they instantaneously, spontaneously, they go to the E2 energy level, and E2 energy level is the metastable state. It has a longer lifetime. So atoms stay in this level for a longer period of time. So after some time, the atoms in the ground state, most of the atoms in the ground state, they will occupy the E2 energy level. So atoms from the ground state will go to E3 level, and from E3 level they will go to the E2 level, and they occupy this E2 level for a longer interval of time. So after some amount of time, population inversion condition will be achieved between E2 and E1 level. So lasing action can occur between these two levels. So lasing action will occur, that is stimulated emission will occur between metastable state and the lower state. In a two-level system, although atoms may be raised continuously to the excited states through pumping, so atoms can be excited to the excited state, they can be pumped to the excited state through pumping, but they do not stay over there for a longer time. So this we are talking about only two-level system. So the atoms, they do not stay in the excited state for a longer time, and they undergo transition to the lower energy level via spontaneous emission. So they again go to the ground state via spontaneous emission. So there will be no population inversion condition that can be achieved in the case of two-level system. But for laser what do we need? We need stimulated emission. So atoms in the case of two-level oscillator, from the excited state they will go to the ground state via spontaneous emission, but for laser we require stimulated emission, and stimulated emission occurs, the rate of stimulated emission is more when population inversion condition is achieved. So for stimulated emission we need population inversion. So to achieve population inversion, excited atoms are required to stay at higher energy levels for longer time. So excited atoms must stay in the excited state for a longer period of time. Atoms of certain elements have such energy levels which have a higher, or you can say longer lifetime of the order of 10 power minus 3 seconds. So there are certain materials which have this energy level whose lifetime is larger, whose lifetime is about 10 power minus 3 seconds, and that state, that energy state is called as metastable state. So normally the excited states they have lifetime of about 10 power minus 8 seconds. But for laser, for stimulated emission, we require certain elements which have metastable state, which have metastable energy state, and metastable state is the one whose lifetime is about 10 power 5 times that of the lifetime of normal excited state. So its lifetime is 10 power minus 3 seconds, and lifetime of normal excited state is 10 power minus 8 seconds. So there is a possibility to achieve population inversion condition. Hence laser action will be triggered. So in the case when we have a metastable state, laser action is possible. So only when we have metastable state, we will have lasing action. So if there is no metastable state, as in the case of two-level system, we do not have any metastable state. So if there is no metastable state, then we have no population inversion. No population inversion. And if there is no population inversion, there will be no lasing action. Now we are going to discuss about three-level pumping scheme, that is the active medium in which we have three levels, three energy states. One is the ground level, then we have the highly excited state, and in between these two we have the metastable state. So now we are going to see how laser action occurs in the case of three-level laser. So three-level pumping scheme, or it is also called as three-level laser. So firstly, here we have three energy levels, E1, E2, E3. So E1 is this level, E2 is this metastable state, and this E3 is the highly excited state. So the lifetime of E3 is about 10 power minus 8 seconds, and lifetime of E2 is about 10 power minus 3 seconds. Now there are various steps which are involved during, or you can say which are involved in the laser action. So firstly, what happens is that with the help of pumping, as we have already discussed, that we excite the atoms with the help of external energy source. So let's say if we are using over here optical pumping, that is we are making the photons to fall on the atoms in the ground state, and energy of these photons must be equal to E3 minus E1. So when the photons of energy E3 minus E1 are made to fall on the atoms of the ground state, the ground state atoms will absorb this photon and will go to the excited state. So they will be excited by the photons of energy E3 minus E1. So when these atoms, there are large number of atoms which are present in the ground state, so atoms, they will go to the excited state E3. Now these atoms which are present in the excited state via spontaneous emission will go to the metastable state. So the atoms which are going to the excited state, highly excited state, they will go to the metastable state via spontaneous emission, and these spontaneous emission, it is comprised of radiative and non-radiative transitions. So there are radiative transitions, that is it can emit photon of energy E3 minus E2, or the de-excitation of the atoms from E3 to E2 can occur via non-radiative transitions, that is through collisions. They will collide with the atoms which are present in the surroundings. They will transfer their energy to the atoms present in the surroundings, or they will transfer their energy to the lattice. So in the case of gas, the atoms, they transfer their energy to the surrounding atoms, and in the case of solid, the energy is transferred, or excess energy is imparted to the lattice. So atoms from E3 will go to E2 through radiative or non-radiative transitions. So the energy which is given to the surroundings, that is the non-radiative transition. So the atoms, they will now go to the metastable state. They will occupy the metastable state. Now metastable state is the state which has a longer lifetime. Lifetime is about 10 power minus 3 seconds. Now the ground state atoms, they are continuously going to the excited state, and excited state atoms, they are going to the metastable state, and they are occupying there, they are staying there for a longer time period. So after some time, the population of E2 level will become higher as compared to the population of the ground state. So after some time, population of the metastable state will be higher as compared to the population of the ground state. So population inversion condition will be achieved between E2 and E1 level. So if spontaneous emission occurs from here, let's say if one spontaneous emission occurs over here, the atom from E2 goes to the E1 state by spontaneous emission, that is it will emit a photon of energy E2 minus E1. So if we'll emit a photon of energy E2 minus E1, that photon will stimulate the emission process. So that photon which is emitted via spontaneous emission, it will trigger the excited atoms in the E2 state, and those atoms will go to the ground state via stimulated emission. So at first point spontaneous emission will occur, and that spontaneous emission photon, the photon which is emitted through the spontaneous emission, will trigger the excited atoms, the other excited atoms which are present, and hence the light which we get is the laser light. The light which we get is highly coherent, monochromatic, and has high directionality. So we have a laser output over here. And lasing action occurs between metastable state and the lower state, which is the ground state in the case of 3-level laser. So the first step is pumping from E1 to E3. So the first step over here is the excitation of atoms from E1 to the E3 level, and that is pumping from E1 to E3. So the external source, it will excite the atoms from ground state to the highly excited state. By supplying energy from external source, atoms are excited from E1 ground level to the energy level E3. For example, if we take the case of optical pumping, in that case laser medium is irradiated by radiations of energy h nu naught. So these radiations which we are using, so if we have optical pumping case, then photons of energy E3 minus E1 must be used. Now energy of photon is given by h nu, or you can say h nu naught. So this h nu naught must be equal to E3 minus E1. So h nu naught must be equal to E3 minus E1. And E3 is a short-lived state. The lifetime of E3 is very short. The next step is the population inversion. Atoms from E3 will go to the E2 level via radiative transition and non-radiative transition. So atoms from E3 will go to E2 via radiative transition and non-radiative transitions. Now non-radiative transitions means that excess energy is imparted to the surroundings. So in the case of gaseous medium, so if the active medium in the case of the laser, if the active medium is a gaseous medium, then non-radiative transitions, in the case of non-radiative transitions, the excess energy is imparted to the surrounding atoms. And in the case of solid, if we have solid as the active medium of the laser, in that case non-radiative transition occurs with the lattice, means excess energy is imparted or is transferred to the lattice. So atoms, they stay in E2 level. In this E2 metastable state, they stay for comparatively longer time. The lifetime of E3 is very short, but the lifetime of E2 is larger. So they will stay there for a longer time. Thus population inversion can be achieved between E1 and E2. So after some time, when population of E2 becomes greater than population of E1, then population inversion condition is achieved, and hence we can have laser output from here. So step 3 is the stimulated emission. So due to the spontaneous emission which will occur, firstly spontaneous emission will occur, the photon of energy E2 minus E1, photon of energy E2 minus E1, it will trigger the excited atoms which are present in E2 state. So due to spontaneous emission, photon of energy E2 minus E1 can be emitted. So this much energy photon will be emitted due to spontaneous emission. And this photon will cause stimulated emission from E2 to E1 level. So the photon which is emitted via spontaneous emission, that will trigger stimulated emission from E2 to E1 level, and hence we can have laser output. And example of 3-level laser is the ruby laser. The laser which was first invented by Theodore Maiman, so that is a 3-level laser. In the next lecture, we will discuss about 4-level pumping scheme or 4-level laser. And we will also see what are the advantages of 4-level laser over a 3-level laser. Now in the case of 3-level laser, we have certain disadvantages. The first disadvantage is that the pumping power which is required, the pumping power, because we supply external energy via external energy source. So we require a certain power to supply that energy. So the pumping power which is required in the case of 3-level laser is very high. And that is high because in the case of 3-level laser, the population inversion condition is achieved between this state and the ground state. And in the case of ground state, we have large number of atoms under normal condition. So we require a very high power of pumping so that at least half of the atoms they go to the excited state, and hence population inversion condition can be achieved. So in the case of 3-level laser, the pumping power which is required is very high because most of the atoms they are in the ground state and there are large number of atoms which are present in a medium. So at least half of the atoms must be excited to the higher state, and hence population inversion condition can be achieved. So to make at least half of the atoms, to excite at least half of the atoms, the pumping power required is very high. And the second disadvantage in the case of 3-level laser is that the stimulated emission, or you can say population inversion condition, is lost after certain time. After certain interval, the population inversion condition is converted into normal population condition. The normal population condition is more atoms in the lower state and less number of atoms in the excited state. So after some time, in the case of 3-level pumping scheme, the population inversion condition is lost, and that is lost because the population inversion condition is achieved between this metastable state and the ground state. So atoms, there are large number of atoms in the ground state. So if you make at least half of the atoms to go to the excited state, and they will go to the metastable state, so when stimulated emission will occur, these atoms they will again go to the ground state. So when stimulated emission will occur, the atoms they will instantaneously they will go to the ground state, and hence population inversion condition that will be lost. So again you have to pump the atoms after certain amount of time. Again you have to pump the atoms, at least half of them should go to the excited state, and again population inversion condition can be achieved. So in the case of 3-level laser, the population inversion condition is lost after certain amount of time, and hence in the case of 3-level laser we have pulses. The laser light which we get is in the form of pulses. Therefore this is also called as this 3-level laser, it operates in a pulsed mode. 3-level laser, it operates in pulsed mode because in the case of 3-level laser, the population inversion condition again has to be maintained after a short interval of time. So after certain amount of time, again we have to maintain the population, we have to invert the population so that again the laser light can be obtained. So we have laser light in the form of pulses. So we say the 3-level laser operates in a pulsed mode. And in the next lecture we will see that how lasing action is obtained in the case of 4-level laser, and what are the advantages of 4-level laser over a 3-level laser.